guys, welcome to another episode of the Literal Podcast. I'm your lovely host, Ogechi Nze, aka The Phenomenal Oge. And today we have a lovely guest on the podcast. And our lovely guest today is my amazing sister. You can introduce yourself.
Hello guys, I'm Frances Nze. I'm Oge's sister. Nice to meet you guys.
Okay, so today let's dive right into the video. We're going to be talking about navigating toxic relationships. See, how does poor communication contribute to toxicity in relationship?
Well, if you're, let's say for example, like someone who is not good at, telling your partner how you feel, if they don't like what you did, or sorry, if you don't like what they did, something like that, you don't like what they did, or there's a way that they're behaving or they're treating you and you're not happy with it, or you don't know how to communicate your feelings, and you do things like silent treatment, you start doing sulking and malice. All those things, they are toxic traits, to be honest, because ideally you're supposed to be open and
Communicate,
open with communication.
Talk, don't sulk.
Talk. Any issues that you're having, anything at all, you should talk, because every relationship has ups and downs. There is not a single relationship, even those in good marriages now and everything, that don't have problems. They have the disagreements.
It's okay,
but they find ways to resolve it. That's why they're still together. I mean, give yourself a break. You're two different people from different backgrounds. Even twins who were born, they shared the same womb and came out, a few minutes apart. They quarrel, they disagree. How much more that you met an entirely different person, a stranger from a different background, probably trained in a different way from how you were trained, different parents, obviously, and you're coming together. There's no way there won't be a clash, or there's no way there won't be differences. But the most important thing is how you react to those differences, how you sort out those differences or manage those differences. That's honestly what makes a relationship work or not work. If you both give up or one person checks out, well, that's the end.
Communication is very important. You need to understand that your partner cannot read minds. Your partner is not a witch, neither is he a wizard. It doesn't live in your head. So if you don't say what your problem is the way it is, there's no way they will know. Then you now leave them to assumptions, and a lot of times assumptions are just a killer of many relationships, because unfortunately people don't assume the best, they assume the worst.
They assume wrongly.
Exactly. So wrong assumptions bring about a lot of the issues that people have in their relationships. Sometimes your partner might not even mean any harm by what they're doing, but because they haven't spoken, he just woke up with a gloomy face this morning, or my wife just woke up with a gloomy face, I think I'm the problem, maybe she's fighting with me, I don't know what's the issue, why is she giving me attitude, why is he giving me attitude? And then you're wrong with that, and you start treating them as a response to their own perceived character or perceived attitude, not knowing that it might not even be anything about you. Maybe they're going through something, maybe it's work, maybe they're tired, maybe they don't even feel well that day, and that's the reason why they're gloomy. But you've already concluded in your mind that today now is a battlefield between me and this person. You think you can give attitude? I will show you that I'll be at it. And before you know it, it's a war zone, and everything is just going haywire. So please don't assume, ask and ask until you're clear and you understand what's going on. So next question I'll ask, in what ways can past trauma or previous toxic relationships influence one's current relationship dynamics?
Well, like you said, trauma. If trauma hasn't been dealt with, or you've not healed from it, there's a tendency for you to project it to the next relationship. And it's not because you're a terrible person, you're just being human.
Sometimes unintentional.
You're just being human, and you're just being careful, because there's a tendency that it's just like normal. Like, for example, you dealt with someone, like let's say you brought someone very nice, or you thought was very nice, to your house, you helped the person and everything, and you came back one day, it's just an example though, you came back one day and just saw that all your appliances are gone. And the person is gone. So the person sold all your household items and left. there is a high chance that that person is never going to help anyone again.
True.
The person is never going to help a stranger again. It doesn't mean that they now become bad, or they just have that, it's that trauma.
Yeah.
So they just feel like, if bringing a stranger in, the person might do the same thing to them again. So if you apply that to relationships, it's the same. So if you've been with someone and the person was kind initially, was nice, and then all of a sudden the person changed and started treating you badly, maybe beating you, or forced you to, was manipulating you emotionally, verbally abusing you. Those ones, I think, are the worst. People that don't leave any physical mark, no evidence to someone else that you're being maltreated.
Everything is
here. Those ones, I think they are the worst type of relation.
Mess with your mind.
They are the worst type of partners, because when you're telling someone else about the situation, they're like, what are you on about?
No,
there's no evidence. But it's easier to tell someone if somebody comes to see you and they see like you're wearing glasses, like Nigerian movies, how we see you're wearing glasses, all of a sudden you're wearing shades inside the house.
Yeah.
They're like, what is wrong with this girl?
Exactly.
And then they're like, take off the glass, and then you see a red eye or something. You can tell that this person has been beaten. There's physical abuse. But how do you know that somebody is being maltreated badly when the person just looks fine? There's no marks, there's no nothing. So there's nothing, as proof or evidence that shows that this person is being treated badly. So someone might say, oh, you're just lying, or you're just being silly, or just ignore whatever it is you're telling them. You might be crying for help, and the person might just be like, oh, it's life, just suck it up. Stuff like that. So that is really sad. So that is the reason why someone might not be willing to moving forward, be willing to be themselves, their authentic original self in the next relationship, because they're kind of guarding, kind of protecting themselves.
Have their guards up now,
because they feel like this person might just do what the person before or the people before did. So I have to protect myself, I have to make sure that, but if it happens, I'm going to be good. I'm not going to be broken like I was before. So it happens.
There's so many instances I've seen of how trauma has affected different people. Like there's this lady I heard about, in her own case, she started to hit men because her former partner, her ex, used to hit her. So when she sees, like, once you guys are having like an argument and you start coming close to her, she automatically assumes you're going to try to hit her. So she hits first. So she assumes, okay, if I stay, you think I'm weak and he's going to beat me and, come down at me. So she's just looking at and just waiting. Once you come near her, she just clear you from the ground, take you, sweep you off your feet, and then she's there already, your face. She's already, throwing the first slap and the first punch, trying to suppress you, make sure you stay down, basically. So she did that, and it kept kicking her out of several relationships until she decided to seek therapy. And she was like, oh, what's the problem? They're like, oh, that she's always with abusive men who want to beat her and all that. So she ends up, having to fight them. And she's like, okay, so how many of them have, beat you? How many times have they hit you? She was like, oh, one of her exes used to like hit her physically, but the remaining ones, she didn't give them a chance because she hits first. So like, so how are you so sure that they were going to hit you? She's like, no, they were behaving the way my ex used to behave. They start shouting and they're opening their eyes and they're coming close to me. What if they were just gonna just talk, or just come in your face, just talk in your face and then walk away? She said, no, I don't think so. As if they want to beat me. That's how they behave. That's how your ex used to behave, not necessarily how all of them will behave. So sometimes somebody who now meets that lady will say, oh, this lady is toxic, she's a man beater. Because people don't believe that there are men beaters. There are women who beat men. Oh, my sister,
there are.
It's more common for men to hit women because they are the stronger gender and all that. So women are more at the receiving end. Well, sometimes there are some women who hit men. I've only heard of a woman who is a pastor who hits her husband. Yes, and the husband says that in all the years that they've been married, that he can't remember a day that this woman will not hit him and then still go and pray. Funny enough, So a lot of times, spirituality or being religious doesn't equate being a good partner.
Sure.
Because some people think, oh, I just need to go to church and find myself one, scabashing, tongue speaking brother in the Lord. My sister, that brother in the Lord, the day you forget. I say, oh, he's a man of God, he can't do anything wrong. This how I'm laughing at you. My sister, that man is first a man before of God. It's God that is helping him. The day he puts the God part of him aside, he's not a pastor 247. No, he will come back home, he'll be a human being like you. He's just a man, he's a human being like you. So he will put the pastor part aside, come back, panel beat you, and he will go and pray in tongues and travail in the spirit. My sister, that woman will still beat you and go and pray in tongues for the next 6 hours. It will shock you. So it has nothing.
In a way, it's our fault too.
Sure.
Like society wise, we put pastors on like a pedestal.
Yeah.
It's like a pastor is like God.
God, yeah.
To some people. So a pastor is like, oh, this is a pastor, he can do no wrong. Forgetting that this pastor is a human being like you and I. So the fact that people are saying, oh, some pastors can be this, you can meet somebody in church and the person is horrible and stuff like that, and people are like, it's our like mentality. Yeah. The people saying, wow, I'm so shocked, unbelievable. Why unbelievable? The person is a human being. If you can lie and you can do some what you call petty sins, why can't the pastor do the same? He's a human being like you. And everybody, as much as we can, we are all striving towards righteousness, all striving towards being better and being better in the sight of God and doing things according to the will of God and according to the scriptures. Nobody's perfect, even the pastors.
Sure.
Yeah.
So even your pastor is not perfect. So quit, placing them on that pedestal or on that same level with God. You feel like, oh, they are next to God, like assistant Jesus. The pastor is just a human being like you. He's a child of God. He has, embraced God and he runs on the grace of God. But the same way he has the grace of God, you have the grace of God as well. Yeah. You just have different giftings, basically. So he's a human being like you. The same way you can make mistakes, of course, he can also make mistakes. So please give them a break. So, do you believe that childhood traumas can have anything to do with the kind of partner you pick?
Yeah, definitely. Because people that have daddy or mommy issues, people that have daddy or mommy issues, there's a high chance that they are looking for what they lacked. When they were growing up, all the things that were lacking, from obviously parental stuff when they were growing up. So they will be looking for it in their partner. Yeah, so you have people obviously who, maybe a man who didn't have his mom at all, or had his mom, but I don't even know which one is worse. The fact that your mom is not around, or the fact that your mom is around and just like not around. I think that one is worse, because you're seeing your mom, but your mom is not, just doesn't even care about you. Yeah, and stuff like that. I think that's worse. So whichever situation it is or issue that they're most likely going to be looking for a mommy in their wife or a mommy in women that they are dating, which is not a good idea. So it's the same thing as people who have daddy issues. You have some of them, they manifest it by going after much older men. For no reason in particular. Younger men are just not
attractive enough.
No interest in men, in around the same age bracket or even a bit older than them. They want men that are like old enough to be their father. Yeah, because they're looking for a daddy figure. Exactly. So it projects in some projections. It shows like that in some people's lives. So definitely childhood trauma has a lot too. Yeah, there's this movie I watched recently. The movie is currently trending on YouTube and like Instagram, where you have that Odogu coming to ask Bam Bam out and stuff like that. Yeah, in that movie, in the course of the movie, we got to understand that the reason why Bam Bam didn't want Odogu initially was because he reminded of her dad. Yeah. Because he was Igbo, he was rich, he had an Igbo accent like her dad. So she felt like, okay, no,
if she accepts this man, is going to be a repetition of what her dad did, and is going to come up with an extra shoe or the other shoe, like she called it,
another
family somewhere else. Yeah, so a lot of times childhood trauma does affect. And you said people usually look for what was lacking in their childhood in a new partner. But do you know that a lot of times some people end up picking, they say I don't want somebody like my mom, I don't want somebody like my dad and things like that, but they end up jumping right into picking somebody who was just like their parents.
That's the sad part.
That's the saddest part.
That makes you
so you say, oh, I don't want somebody who is like this, I don't want somebody who is like that. You're saying it's in your head, it's in your subconscious, but you can't, you find it difficult to manifest it because of childhood traumas. A lot of times people who grew up in a house where people who they say, oh, you are not loved at all, people like that, people who had emotionally absent parents end up picking an emotionally absent spouse, because that's the only way they understand love. They got to understand tough love. So a lot of times you see people who, their dad was absent when they were growing up, he was just so busy and they didn't care, emotionally unavailable. They end up marrying a man who's unavailable emotionally, because that's the tough love they understand. So when they see that, they end up unconsciously becoming attracted to people like that, because that's what they understand. So they see it as, oh, this guy loves me, it's not available. Okay, maybe that's how men are. Maybe that's what love is actually from a man's point of view. And then you see
the sad part about that is,
becomes a pattern.
When they come across those that are actually treating them right, then they get confused and like, what is happening?
It sounds too good to be true.
Yeah,
exactly.
Why is he like? And then they start causing problems. They intentionally want fights. They intentionally want the person to just be distant.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you're too clingy. Why are you following me everywhere? Even when the person is just being normal, like the person is not even clingy, they just care about you. But then you're just like, no, this is not how love should be, because of twisted.
Yes. So people are used to tough love. They're not used to soft love at all. So I've seen a lady. I know a lady who used to say, oh, why is he all over me? Why is he all up in my business? Why is he calling me? Why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? This one, I beg, he's too soft for my liking. He's too this, he's too that. And then you're like, what exactly do you want? That's what people want. People are looking for who gush over them. We really, always happy to be around him. So she's like, no, why is he so clingy? Why is he behaving like a mommy's boy? No, I don't want that one. No, I want the one that I'll be the one that will be chasing him. You'll be the one that's calling. You're the one that will not even give you attention. The one that will have like different girls and you're all battling for his attention. That's what they want. Some people are, you'll be like, this person crazy or what? But some of these things are as a result of childhood traumas.
Yeah, sure.
Because they had emotionally unavailable parents. So they can only see love through that. They only see love that way. They interpret love that way. So they end up picking the very same kind of person they thought they in their head they want to run away from, but they end up picking the very same person back again, and it's just a mess. So I think the onus now falls on parents to try to be available, try to be good parents, try to be loving parents, teach your children what love is, because children learn more from watching you than from what you tell them.
Yeah, very true.
If you're a loving parent and you love them, you love your spouse, like for example, a father who loves on his wife and all that, and all the children can see and they're like, oh, mommy loves daddy, and then it shows the love to you guys as well, you're more likely to get a loving partner, because you understand love that way. You know what real love should be like. So when you see something contrary, you're like, no, I'm out. This is not how it is. But when you grow up in a dysfunctional household, you will see those things as, oh, okay, this is normal. If somebody is shouting at me or insulting me, oh yeah, he's just correcting me. That's his way of showing that he loves me. You end up jumping right into picking the very same thing you're trying to run away from. Yeah. So it just becomes a cycle. Yeah. So how do cultural backgrounds and societal expectations impact relationships?
Well, cultural backgrounds and societal expectations.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Well, it depends on where you are from. Like for example, Nigeria as a country. I'm not sure about other African countries, but I guess they all have their own cultures. But Nigeria, Igbo land, unfortunately, there are some cultural stuff that are not right. You know, they are not right. So that are still in place till today, sadly. So when things like that, they can definitely affect who you pick, or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, some women who are Igbo, they are known, unfortunately, to be very materialistic. And I feel the reason why it's like that is from, you know, the women of
the tradition and how they were groomed.
How they were groomed. So if you were trained in a way that, oh, you're supposed to marry a rich man and a dogu,
to take care of all your needs.
Take care of all your needs, so you don't have to do a single thing. You just stay there and just pop children every year or every other year.
Listen to your husband and be a good wife.
Anything he says goes. Anything he says is right. You don't even. It's like sometimes some people are trained in a way that the woman shouldn't even have a brain.
Yeah.
She shouldn't have a working brain, because we all have brains. Yeah. She shouldn't have a working brain.
Yeah.
Put it that
Don't think for yourself.
Don't think everything your husband says is correct. So even if he's leading you all to the dungeon, to hell, follow him, because he's your husband. And you can't say anything. You don't, you know, some people are not trained to that your input is also important, and that you people are partners. It's more like my lord and servant type of relationship,
like ruler or dictator kind of.
Type of relationship, not partnership. It's more like the lord over you and you are the servant, the maid servant, so doing all the housework or the house chores. You know, not having any dreams or aspirations for yourself. It's supposed to be. You would think that it would be rare in this age and time, but sadly, there's still some women that. Yeah,
sure, there still are.
There's still some that are like that, especially a lot of them in the village. That's probably still in the village. Even some people in the city, funny enough.
Yeah, it all depends on your upbringing.
They still think like that. Like, no, I don't want to. There was one stuff I watched not long ago. Not very long ago. It was like a show. And the lady came looking for love as well. And the men that came, she really pretty lady.
Yeah.
And the men that came were like, oh, you know, saying what they want and what are their deal breakers and everything. And she kept popping her balloon for every man who came. And in my head, I'm like, what on earth is wrong with this girl? Why? Like, there's some really nice guys. At least give them a chance. I'm not saying that they are great men, because we're just watching them on TV. We don't know if they are great or not. But at least from the things they are saying, you know, at least give them a chance. And then she opened her mouth to talk. And that's when I realized, oh, that's the problem. So she said, they were like, so why did you pop the balloon for this guy? And you've been popping for most of the guys as well that have been coming. Is it that they are not good enough for you? She said, because all of them have been saying one thing commonly, which is a deal breaker for me. And they're like, okay, what is the deal breaker? And she was like, they all want women that would be their partners and that would support them, you know, where they can grow together financially. I don't want to work.
Oh, wow.
That's what she said. Point blank, that what they are looking for doesn't match what I'm looking for. I want to be pampered. I want to be a housewife. I don't want to do any kind of job or any type of business of my own. I just want to be taken care of, to be spoiled. And so that's the kind of man I'm looking for. None of them fall into that category. I was very shocked because I've actually never really heard someone who is that, well, shallow.
In this modern day?
Yeah, in this modern day, that actually doesn't want to do any single thing. Mostly, like, even ladies who people say are materialistic, a lot of them work.
Yeah.
At least as they're single, you're not going to eat sand, are you?
Exactly.
You need money to, you know, take care of yourself, to look good, to really attract the so-called men that you want, that will now make you the Oga wife or whatever.
Yeah.
The housewife and not wanting to work is actually later, not now. But she is a single lady, but has said she has no intention of working, doesn't work at the moment, and never wants to work.
So how is she surviving at the moment?
On her parents.
Her parents, wonderful.
I was like, well, human beings are different.
People are different. These are the issues.
These are the issues.
These are the issues.
It's really,
oh my God,
I can't forget that particular episode because of how the response that lady gave. It was very, very direct. I don't want to ever work. I'm like, wow. You're a full-grown adult.
She probably watched her mom not work. Maybe her family too. Maybe it's her dad that is the alpha and omega, or is their benefactor for everything, and then they just rely on him. Maybe she grew up seeing that, and he worked for them in the house, so she too believes that, oh yes, that's how it's meant to be, and she wants it that way as well. I feel like some people outside society, they accept some of these ancient cultural stuff because they're just lazy.
Exactly. I feel honestly, when people come out and say, "Oh, I came from a family that they didn't used to do this, my dad was this," so that's why I'm like, sometimes, honestly, sometimes some of them, you can probably say, yeah, it's just how they were trained, so maybe that's how they are. But I feel like everybody, we're in an age now where we're not in a box. People learn things from social media. So how come, you can say, oh, this is how I was trained and this is how I am. But when some trends come up on social media, you copy it. Which means the fact that you copy it means you can learn. Yeah, you can learn something new and follow something else. You're choosing not to. And then you're just giving excuses that your parents raised you this way. Come on. We have social media, we have internet, we have so many ways that you can learn. So you can be a different person if you want to. Yeah. We have passed the age of being like, oh, it's only what my parents taught me that I know. There's so many avenues to learn from. So if you're how you are, you choose to be how you are.
True. So look out for people who are rigid, all those set and one, that's how I am. That's how I am. I cannot change for anybody. Look out for them. Run, pick up your slippers. Run, let your leg be touching the back of your head. Run. There's anybody that is just really, oh, that's how I am, I can't change it. I need to someone who will love me for who I am. Love you for who you are now, with the hope that you're gonna work on yourself to change. So it's not, you're not gonna bring on your bad character. You're not say, after all, that is how I am, and they live with me like that in my house. Well, not your family members, until change. Your family members, I'm even sure they're complaining in your house. I'm sure your mother is complaining, your father is complaining. So please change.
I believe that particular lady, her family should be complaining because she's not a young person. She's getting to 30 years old. And she still thinks like that. And she's still staying with her parents, still comfortable, doing absolutely nothing with her life.
And they need to send her out to go and find work.
Well, they haven't sent her away. She still has a house to go back to and do nothing and just eat. And that's why she's like, oh, I don't have to work. And so I'm not moving to any man's house to now start working. So I'm moving from here to where else I will be taken care of as a princess that I am.
Sorry, princess, fairy tale princess. So funny. Voila for those of us that are not princess. Oh my goodness.